Hi, I'm Chewie, and my journey from being a lost pup on the streets to finding a family was pretty rough, especially after I lost my leg. But guess what? I found something even better, a home filled with love. Hi everyone, welcome to Life Flow, where every story brings a new perspective. Let's get started. Hi there, my name is Chewie. Well, that's what I'm called now, but more on that later. I'm just a little pup, barely a year old, and I've already had quite the adventure. Let me tell you all about it. From the very beginning, when I didn't even know what a family really meant. I don't remember much about my first few weeks of life. I know I was born in a warm place, surrounded by other puppies like me. We used to snuggle up together, cozy and safe. There was a big dog, my mom I think, who would nudge us and lick our faces. I miss her sometimes, but one day, everything changed. I don't know why, but I was suddenly all alone. One minute, I was with my brothers and sisters, and the next, I found myself in a cold, unfamiliar place. I was only 2 months old, and I didn't know what to do. I wandered the streets for a while, my little legs carrying me as fast as they could. Everything was so big, and the noises. Oh, the noises. Cars zooming past, people rushing by, without even looking down at me. I was scared, so scared. I was hungry too, and no matter how much I tried to find something to eat, there was nothing. Then, something really bad happened. I was crossing the road, okay, maybe not the best idea, but I was just trying to find a safer place. And then, wham, a huge car came out of nowhere and hit me. It hurt so much. My leg, my poor leg, I couldn't move it, and the pain was so sharp I thought I might just close my eyes and never open them again. I lay there on the side of the road, whimpering, feeling so small and broken. That's when he found me. I was lying there, hurt and scared, when suddenly, I felt small hands lift me gently. I opened my eyes and saw a face, a young boy, about 8 years old. His eyes were wide with worry as he looked down at me. "Mom, Dad, there's a puppy. He's hurt," the boy shouted. His voice wasn't like the loud, scary voices of the people passing by. It was kind, soft, and it made me feel a little less afraid. I didn't know who he was, but I liked him already. The boy's parents rushed over, their faces concerned. They knelt beside me, and the mom shook her head. "Oh no, sweetie, we can't take him home. He's hurt really bad, and we haven't had a dog in so long. But we can't just leave him here," the boy protested, his voice shaky. "He's hurt. Please, Mom, can we at least take him to the vet?" The dad looked at me, then at his son. "All right," he said with a sigh. "We'll take him to the vet, but we can't keep him. We haven't had a dog since Rocky." I didn't know who this Rocky was, but from the sadness in their eyes, I could tell he must have been really special. Still, I was too hurt to think much about it. All I knew was that these people were taking me somewhere safe, and I was grateful. The ride to the vet was a blur. I was in pain, but I tried to stay strong. The boy, my hero, kept his hand on my back the whole time, whispering to me that everything would be okay. I wasn't sure if I believed him, but his voice helped. When we got to the vet, things got scary again. The bright lights, the strange smells, and the poking and prodding, it was all too much. Then, I heard something I didn't quite understand. "We're going to have to amputate his leg. It's too damaged to save." Amputate? What does that mean? The vet explained to the boy and his parents that I wouldn't be able to keep my leg. I felt the boy's hand squeeze mine tightly, and for a moment, I was scared. What would happen to me? Would they still want me if I was missing a leg? I didn't understand much, but I could feel the tension in the room. But then something amazing happened. The boy turned to his parents, tears in his eyes, and said, "Please, he needs us. I don't care if he has 3 legs. We can't just leave him." The parents exchanged a look, and I held my breath, as best as a little dog can. Then, the dad nodded. "We'll make sure he's okay. Let's get him through this first." I didn't understand everything, but I knew one thing. I wasn't alone anymore. The next thing I knew, I woke up in a soft bed. My leg, well, it wasn't there anymore. It felt weird, but the pain was gone, which was nice. I felt lighter. I didn't really know how I was supposed to walk now, but I figured I'd learn. Dogs are good at learning new things, right? The boy, I later found out his name was Ethan, came to visit me every day while I was recovering at the vet. He'd sit beside my bed, telling me all about his school and his friends. He'd stroke my fur, careful not to hurt me, and he always brought me little treats. I like those. They reminded me that even though I was in a strange place, I was cared for. After a few days, something wonderful happened. Ethan's parents came to pick me up. I thought maybe they were taking me somewhere else, but no, they were taking me home. Can you believe it? A home. I was so excited, even though I was still figuring out how to walk with only 3 legs. At first, things were a little awkward. Ethan's parents were nice, but I could tell they weren't sure about me. I overheard them talking sometimes. The dad, Mr. Carter, would say things like, "I don't know, honey. I'm not sure if we're ready for another dog." And the mom, Mrs. Carter, would sigh and reply, "It's been so long since Rocky. I just don't know if I can go through that again." I didn't know much about Rocky, but I started to realize he was their last dog. He must have been really special because they seemed so sad whenever they talked about him. It was like they were afraid to love another dog because of the pain they went through when they lost him. I understood. I had lost my family too. It's hard to open your heart again when it's been hurt so badly. But here's the thing about dogs, we don't give up. And we love with everything we have, even if it's scary. So, every day, I did my best to show them that I was here and I wasn't going anywhere. I wobble around the house on my 3 legs, try to keep up with Ethan, who was always running around. I'd wag my tail every time Mrs. Carter walked by, hoping she'd give me a pat on the head. And Mr. Carter? Well, he was a little harder to crack, but I wasn't giving up on him either. Day by day, things started to change. I could feel it. At first, I was just a little visitor in the house, but soon I started to feel like I was becoming part of the family. Ethan loved me from the start. No surprise there. He'd sneak me treats when his parents weren't looking and tell me all his secrets. I wasn't sure what some of the secrets meant, what's a crush, anyway. But I listened because that's what friends do. Mrs. Carter was next. She'd smile at me more often, and sometimes, when she thought no one was watching, she'd scratch behind my ears just the way I liked. She even started making me my own little meals, saying, "Well, we can't have him eating just dry food all the time, can we, Mr. Carter?" He was the toughest. He didn't talk to me much at first. He'd just look at me sometimes, like he was trying to figure me out. But then, one evening, something magical happened. Ethan had gone to bed, and Mrs. Carter was cleaning up the kitchen. I was lying on my bed in the corner when Mr. Carter came over and sat down beside me. He didn't say anything at first. He just sat there, quiet, looking at me. I wagged my tail a little, trying to let him know I wasn't going anywhere. Then, he sighed and said, "You know, you remind me of Rocky in a lot of ways. But you're different too. You're tough. Aren't you, Chewie?" Chewie. That's what he called me. And that's how I got my name. After that, things changed even more. Mr. Carter started taking me on walks. Well, more like slow, wobbly strolls, but I didn't mind. He'd talk to me about his day, and sometimes, he'd even tell me stories about Rocky. I never met Rocky, but I knew he must have been a good dog because Mr. Carter's voice would get soft whenever he talked about him. It made me proud to know I was helping him heal, even just a little bit. So, here I am now, a whole year later, and let me tell you, it's been quite the year. I may have started out as a stray with 3 legs, but now, I'm part of a family, a real family, and I couldn't be happier. Ethan? He's still my best friend. We do everything together. Play in the yard, cuddle on the couch, and of course share snacks even when we're not supposed to. He tells me I'm his hero, but honestly, he's mine. He saved me that day when he found me on the street, and I'll never forget it. Mrs. Carter? She's my second best friend. She talks to me all the time now, and she even made me my own little bed in the kitchen. But between you and me, I usually end up sneaking into Ethan's bed at night. And Mr. Carter? Well, he's my walking buddy, my secret telling pal, and the one who gave me my name. We spend quiet evenings together, and I can tell that, little by little, he's healing from the loss of Rocky. I like to think I've helped with that, just by being here. Life isn't perfect, and I still wobble a bit on my 3 legs. But I've learned that it doesn't matter how many legs you have, or where you came from. What matters is the love you give and the love you receive. And here's the best part. I know now that I'll never be alone again. This is my family, and I'm their dog. Forever. The end, but really, it's just the beginning. If my story made you wag your tail, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more possum adventures. And hey, share this with someone who believes in second chances. Drop a comment below and tell me all about your furry heroes. I'd love to hear their stories.